Well, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News. We've got Super Tuesday ballot results for you guys, and it looks like Joe Biden is the overwhelming victor in the Democratic contest. Now, when you take a look at the delegates that were siphoned away by people like Elizabeth Warren and Michael Bloomberg from Bernie Sanders, it is a clear indication that the presence of those people in the race are the only thing that stopped Bernie Sanders from maybe pulling ahead of Joe Biden. If you take those delegates, add them to Bernie, he actually beats Joe by 6, and that's at what we have right now. But no telling who those other people would have voted for, but something tells me that at least the people that voted for Warren definitely would have voted for Bernie Sanders. Now, this is all assuming that everything's on the up and up, because you know how it is in the DNC. But we have so much news to go over today. Some highlights from yesterday. We've also got information about Lindsey Graham and closed-door sessions. We've got information about the president's campaign suing the Washington Post, another lawsuit against the mainstream media. Mike Bloomberg has said he is no longer going to run for president. It's probably the best thing because he's wasted over $700 million to date, and I think he got 4 delegates. That is it. 4 delegates. Worst return in history. And finally, a victory in the Supreme Court. They have ruled that people coming here illegally can be prosecuted if they steal the identity of an American citizen. So that is going to make for some big changes at the IRS, the enforcement arm of the Federal Reserve Bank. So please, guys, do sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. You know, the biggest fear people have in situations like the one we're in now with the stock market is not actually losing money. You'd be surprised. The biggest fear is losing the status with their family and friends, the ones who have always looked up to you. To be working at the checkout of the local supermarket when all your old friends are off playing golf or on a vacation like you used to be is soul-destroying. And gold has risen, and you might have ignored it. And if you did, you lost out. Well, this has been in the cards for a while now, and this bull market in gold actually started back in 2015. But if you didn't take action before, it's not too late. Putting some precious metals into an IRA or 401k rollover gives you a safety net against anything bad that's coming. Or maybe you have some extra cash sitting in the bank, making less than 0.5%, and you've been meaning to move it into something different. Get some gold or silver in your hands. And Noble Gold has helped thousands of clients just like you. You can call them now at 877-646-5347. That's 877-646-5347, or hit the link below and see how they can help you. And tell them Red Pill 78 sent you. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today we are talking Super Tuesday. Yesterday, as I'm sure everyone is well aware, was a major primary day here in our great United States, including Texas, California, Colorado, Utah, and many other states, which could become critical come November. Now, as I stated earlier, it looks like Biden is the big winner. He has got now a total of 413 delegates, and it sounds like maybe some of these states have not finished total delegate counts. Sanders, however, at 332. Now, Warren has 43 and Bloomberg has 44. I find it interesting that Mike Bloomberg has overall more delegates than Elizabeth Warren, considering the amount of time that she spent in this race, but maybe not so much with the amount of money Bloomberg has spent, somewhere north of $700 million. Now, the only state he picked up yesterday, well, it's not even a state. It's American Samoa. And I believe that is 4 delegates right there. So now Mike Bloomberg has decided to drop out of the race entirely. Now, those 44 delegates, where are they going to go? Are they going to go to Sanders, or are they going to go to Biden? The way the MSM is playing it, Biden is now the clear-cut winner, and many people are shocked. I even saw a headline in New York Post, Biden shocks America. People did not expect Joe Biden to have such a strong showing. But again, that is assuming that everything was on the up and up. I saw a lot of people yesterday talking on Twitter saying that Bernie Sanders had been pushed out illegally yet again. But of course, we know the DNC is a private organization and they can rig the vote for whoever they want to. We now have court precedent set for that here in America. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, what I did think was interesting is that in several states, President Trump was able to garner more votes than all of the Democratic contenders combined. And one of those states was Colorado. Colorado Colorado is definitely a blue state. At least it has been recently. Now, as the Republican in the primary, President Trump garnered more votes than any of the other people combined. He also got more votes in Alabama, Arkansas, and Utah. So we are going to be looking for those states to go red come November. Now, let's go ahead and move on to some other coverage in relation to this. Now, with Joe Biden's primary wins yesterday across America, we have the ladies of The View this morning waxing philosophical about who they'd like to see as the Surgeon General, and Whoopi Goldberg has an interesting pick. Let's take a look.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife. Joe Biden's wife, because he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
I thought she was a doctor and
PhD.
Yeah, I
could be wrong.
I think she's a teacher, but
Okay, as Method said, a swing and a miss. Jill Biden is not a doctor. She is a teacher. And you can see, it looks like maybe about half of the audience had no idea who she was talking about at first, and then the other half just went with it. They thought, okay, yeah, she could be Surgeon General. So clearly, Jill Biden, no, she is not going to be Surgeon General. My only question here is, what is up with the painter smocks that Whoopi Goldberg wears on this program? What's the deal, Whoopi? All right, so speaking of Jill Biden, looks like Joe himself is a little confused about who she is or what she does. Yesterday, he introduced her as his sister, and this is the hope of the Democratic Party. It was a good night overall for Joe Biden. He didn't sniff any hair, but he did confuse his wife with his sister, and it happens to the best of us, right? I mean, come on, at least twice a year I mistake my wife for my sister. No, it never happens. That never happens. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip.
By the way, this is my little sister, Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh, no, this is oh, you switched on me. This is my wife. This is my sister. They switched on me.
The sad thing about this is that no, they didn't switch. They were in the same place the whole time. Now, this is a little bit of good-natured ribbing, but something that I suppose could happen when you're in the excitement of being on stage and having all of those delegate wins from the help of the Democratic National Convention. Let's go ahead and take a look at something else. Now, Joe Biden is not the only one who had a little gaffe on stage last night. Apparently, some protesters stormed the stage during his victory speech, and Jill Biden lashed out like a cougar, protecting her husband. So 2 protesters stormed the stage during his victory speech in Los Angeles as he racked up that impressive primary victory over Bernie Sanders in many states across the country. He was surrounded on either side by his wife and his sister as he spoke, and those 2 women ended up shielding him as security failed to protect the former vice president. Never go up against a mama bear. The protesters appeared to be women with an anti-dairy group that recently stormed the stage while Bernie Sanders was speaking at a rally in California. As Biden was speaking, a female protester ran up on stage and was grabbed by a security man and dragged away. It was then a second woman who stormed the stage, and Biden's wife Jill and sister Valerie blocked her. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the clip. All right, there she goes. She got her. Here's another one. Oh man. I want to show you a picture, a close-up from another angle, and Jill Biden's face is priceless. All right, and here it is. Joe Biden looking extremely confused. Jill Biden, out for blood, grabs her by the wrists with her teeth gnashing, blood in her eyes, and basically tosses her off the stage single-handedly. Where was the Secret Service and Joe Biden's security during this crazy moment right here? This gives me a bit of a newfound respect for Jill Biden. Kind of a gutsy move for her to just go for it, but like I said, you never mess with a mama bear. Now, President Trump this morning had some very interesting things to say in regards to Joe Biden and the people surrounding him. He actually referred to them as handlers. Where have we heard that before? Let's go ahead and take a listen to the clip.
Joe's become, a lot of people are with Joe. If you look at those people, they're worse than Bernie in terms of being radical left. I mean, some of Joe's handlers, and that's what they are, is handlers. I want to be nice, but they are handlers. Some of Joe's handlers are further left than Bernie. That's pretty scary. So it's going to be that way, yeah.
Do you think blue?
Now, handlers is a term that is frequently used to describe people in the intelligence agencies who are handling assets, people who are directing them and showing them what to do, where to go, how to act, and how they are meant to behave in the course of an operation. President Trump here calling the people surrounding Joe Biden handlers. Now, it could also refer to the fact that Joe Biden is in a poor mental state, and to be perfectly honest, a poor physical state as well. So he could be referring to them in that respect, but I do tend to think that he means handlers in the OG sense of the word. We're talking about intelligence agencies here that are handling Joe Biden in his campaign. Clowns to the left of Joe, clowns to the right, clowns all around. It is clearly them who are running his campaign. Now, hot on the tail of his wins on Super Tuesday and hot on the tail of his loss, Mike Bloomberg has subsequently dropped out of the 2020 presidential race. And who'd have thunk he endorses Joe Biden? So I think we may have an answer as to who those delegates for Bloomberg are going to be passed off to. Now, former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg dropped out of the presidential race on Wednesday this morning after he had a horrible night on Super Tuesday. So he actually finished the night with 18 delegates, far behind the leaders of Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. So now Mike Bloomberg has just endorsed Joe Biden. Let's see what he thinks about Joe being president. He says, "I've known Joe for a very long time. I know his decency, his honesty, and his commitment to the issues that are so important to our country, including a host of liberal causes. Having had the chance to work with Joe on those issues over the years and Joe fighting for working people his whole life, today I am glad to endorse him, and I will work to make him the next president of the United States." Now, Mike Bloomberg made a promise that he was going to spend something like $1 billion in this election. So I would expect to see all of those Bloomberg ads that people normally see on this platform. Those are probably going to switch over to Biden ads now. I would not be surprised. But just keep your eyes open. There's going to be a lot more Joe Biden on the campaign trail, and I think that that is not going to be good for his health. Now, in another tweet sent over by my good friend and fellow researcher Methods, it's from Paul Sperry. He says, "Breaking in place of actual evidence, Comey's Crossfire Hurricane team inserted blank pieces of paper into an FBI file used to document support for FISA applications filed against Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. The pieces of paper were used as placeholders for actual documents." This seems to me like a very strange thing for the FBI to do. They're assuming they're going to get the evidence, and so they just put blank pieces of paper in. What is that, to make the file look bigger? To make it appear as if they have more evidence? Was this just so they could wave it around in the FISA court and say, look at all the stuff we've found? Well, the word placeholder was immediately a big tell to all of us. Let's take a look at something else. I'm sure everyone here is very familiar with the term placeholder. It's something that we have been told on many different occasions by our favorite Anon, many posts which have the term placeholder in it. Now, in the case of these posts, placeholder was used as an insert for evidence which was going to be given to us. I find it very interesting that in this case, it was used for our benefit, and in the case of the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, it was used for their benefit. The only difference is, in this instance, there will be actual evidence showing what they've done. All right, now some good news about Lindsey Graham. A lot of people have been very frustrated with Lindsey Graham with his continuous empty promises in regards to taking action on what's taken place over the last couple of years. Well, finally, he has started closed-door depositions in the probe into FISA abuse. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham on Tuesday said he has started the closed-door interviews as part of his deep dive into the surveillance courts and the FBI's Russia probe. Now, he confirmed this to reporters about starting depositions, and then he escaped into an elevator. Graham is using his position on the committee to probe into the actions of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court warrants involving the Trump campaign associates Carter Page and the FBI handling of the investigation into Russia's alleged meddling in the Trump campaign. He's requested testimony from more than 20 current DOJ and FBI officials. He also wants to call in former officials, including FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy AG Rod Rosenstein, and former Deputy AG Sally Yates before the committee. The deep dive comes amid growing concerns about the potential for abuse of the fisc after Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz found those 17 significant inaccuracies and omissions. Now, keep in mind that Congress has until March 15th to extend the provisions of the USA Freedom Act, which means that if they do not get to the bottom of what happened on the fisc to the best of their liking, and they don't get some reforms in place, then it's possible the FISA court could actually go the way of the dodo, and then we won't have the ability to spy on people in the same way that we've had in the past, which in some cases could be a good thing, and in some cases could be a bad thing, because inevitably, although the FISA court has been abused, it certainly has also been used to save American lives. So this is a bit of a conundrum. But I really like that finally Lindsey Graham is taking action. I only wish that he had started a lot longer ago, because we are kind of up into the 11th hour right now, with the deadline coming up on March 15th. So this is going to be a story that should take some more headlines here in the next couple of weeks. All right, so continuing the trend of suing the MSM, President Trump's campaign has now also sued the Washington Post for libel over false and defamatory statements in regards to the Russia conspiracy. Now, this is a libel suit against the Washington Post for millions of dollars. It was filed on Tuesday, and it was for publishing those false and defamatory statements. Now, Fox News obtained the complaint. It was filed in the district court in Washington, D.C. by attorneys for the president David Tobin and Charles Harder, and it points to a pair of Post articles published in June 2019 that included statements tying the Trump campaign to foreign campaign interference. And from the lawsuit, the statements were and are 100% false and defamatory. The complaint alleges the Post was aware of the falsity at the time it published them, but did so for the intentional purpose of hurting the campaign while misleading its own readers in the process. Now, the complaint claims that Greg Sargent's June 13th article, "Trump just invited another Russian attack, Mitch McConnell is making one more likely," contained the defamatory statement that Special Counsel Robert Mueller concluded that Trump's campaign tried to conspire with a sweeping and systematic attack by Russia during the 2016 campaign season. Now, the complaint continues, the Mueller report concluded there was no conspiracy between the campaign and the Russian government, and no United States person intentionally coordinated with Russia's efforts to interfere in the 2016 election. Now, in a second article by Paul Waldman that was published on June 20th, headlined, "Trump, I can win re-election with just my base," it included the comment, "Who knows what sort of aid Russia and North Korea will give the Trump campaign now that he has invited them to offer their assistance." The complaint says that this observation is also false and defamatory because there has never been any statement by anyone associated with the campaign or the administration inviting Russia or North Korea to assist in the campaign in 2019 or beyond. Now, the Trump campaign feels the Post was well aware at the time of publishing the foregoing statements that they were not true, but they went ahead and published them anyway. There also has never been any reporting that the campaign has ever had any contact with North Korea relating to the United States election. Obviously, the Mueller report is a public record that has been extensively reported in the Post. In other words, they should have known what they were talking about. Now, the complaint also alleged there is an extensive record of statements from the campaign and the White House expressly disavowing any intention to seek Russian assistance, and that there is not a shred of evidence that there have been any contacts between the campaign and North Korea. Now, the Trump campaign said it filed the lawsuit to publicly establish the truth, properly inform readers of true facts, and seek appropriate remedies for the caused harm. So once again, the fake news getting hammered for making false statements. When are they going to learn that they can't just continue to make up lies? Well, I would argue that until this time, they could, because no one was willing to hand down any punishment or any type of actions to make them stop. But now, with this suit right here, with Devin Nunes's suit, with Nicholas Sandmann's suit, all of these agencies are going to end up having to pay the piper. And the Washington Post continues to be a name that keeps popping up in all of them. I am very, very excited about this lawsuit, and I hope that finally the fake news mainstream media are going to take a look at what they publish and start living up to their journalistic integrity. All right, now, considering the time of year, this is a story that I want to come back to because there was a significant Supreme Court victory that was just handed down. Now, we've talked about this on the program many times before. We have what is an epidemic in this country. People come here illegally, they steal the identities of Americans with social security numbers and all this verifiable data, and then they use it to get gainful employment for companies, and which they can also use to file taxes. Now, the federal government, or rather the IRS, is receiving tax revenue as a result of this illegal practice. And even the illegals themselves who use the stolen information, they're able to get tax returns and get money taken home from the IRS or the federal government, however you want to look at. Now, back in 2018, this article here from Forbes.com says that the IRS encourages illegals to steal Social Security numbers for taxes. So then they can pay into the system, and they can get refunds back. Now, this is something that many patriots have been very angry about over the last several years when the practice became more widely known. Now, here in another article from the Washington Examiner in 2018, there was a report that illegals were cited in the theft of 39 million Social Security numbers. Now, as we have spoken about the IRS previously, they are only interested in getting the money. Now, this ties directly into that black market of illegals who take Americans' verifiable information and use it to steal their identities and then file taxes and get tax returns. They also use it to get government benefits. But 39 million Social Security numbers, that's a staggering amount. Now, this is from only 2012 to 2016. So just imagine how many more tens or hundreds of millions of Social Security numbers and the identities of American citizens were used to file taxes in years past, and even since 2016. I would say it's at least this amount here, but probably it's much higher. Well, now we move on to the landmark decision from the Supreme Court, which was just handed down. And that decision states that foreigners who are here illegally can be prosecuted for the identity theft of Americans' information. It was a 5-4 decision on a divided court, but still enough to get the ruling. People who are here illegally can be prosecuted for the crime of identity theft. Now, this decision was part of the Immigration Control and Reform Act, which says any information provided on an I-9 work form can't be used by law enforcement in any way, and that includes as evidence in a criminal case. But the Immigration Control and Reform Act makes it a federal crime to lie on the I-9 work authorization form while limiting how the false information can be used. Federal law also says information contained in the I-9 cannot be used for law enforcement other than specified exceptions, but the Supreme Court has ruled that if workers use the same information on tax documents, they can face charges. So this means that the millions and millions of people who are here illegally and using Americans' information, Social Security numbers, and whatever else it is, this means that they can, in fact, be prosecuted. Now, it remains to be seen how widely this will be enforced. But something tells me that with a victory like this, the Trump administration is going to use it to their benefit and to the benefit of the rest of America as well. All right, guys, it's looking more and more likely that Joe Biden is going to be the presumptive Democratic nominee come November. I have always said that I cannot wait to see Joe Biden and President Trump up on the debate stage together. I think that President Trump is going to mop up the stage with Joe, and if he makes it to November, then it should be a pretty impressive and entertaining sight to see. We've got some great things happening in the world today. I'm very excited about the way things are going. Graham and his closed-door sessions should lay the foundation for the FISA investigation, and I'm really hoping that the information he gets can then be passed over to the special prosecutor who's looking into all of this stuff. All right, guys, I think that's all that I have for you today. I just want to remind everyone about the contest. We are approaching 200,000 subscribers. When we get there, 2 of you will each win a $200 gift card to the place of your choice. You just have to like these videos, comment in the comment section, share them so more people see them, and make sure that you are subscribed with the notification bell turned on for all videos, because you will need to see the video where I name you and then get a hold of me. And if I have to choose somebody else, I guess I will have to do that. But I hope that the first people who I am choosing as winners will go ahead and call me and get a hold of their prize. All right, guys, thank you everyone for joining me today. As always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.